What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm giving you guys a business update. I didn't post a video last Friday. I was in Miami and just doing a conference. I was attending, shooting some content for Chris. I just didn't get around to being able to post some content or pretty much doing a vlog update. So today's Monday. I'm back home and I'll put this together. So I'll start off with the high level stuff. Um, Notes. All right. So I guess the biggest thing that I really learned from the conference, one of the speakers there, her name is Patricia, and she has this company called the Awesome Company, but it's OSOM. And what she does is that she recycles clothing and textiles to make new clothing. And not to say about the clothing part, but just to hear her story from someone that was, you know, sourcing fabrics to living in Africa, to moving to Oregon, to working with Nike, to then going to Paris Fashion Week, to then having her clothing go out to space, and then doing collaboration with SpaceX, and hearing all these different things of how quickly she grew and moved through her business. It's something that me and Chris had some time to talk about like aligning yourself. Is that when you align yourself with what is it that you want to do and with who you are, you being able to go to distance, it becomes a lot faster because everything that you do, everything that you're about really resonates with people and people want to be a part of that. So like even at the end of her talk, like me and Chris were like, "Dude, what do we have to do? Like, do donate money to you? Like, what can we do to help?" And she was like, "No, just give your clothes to Goodwill." And she's like, "We're actually about to do a partnership with Goodwill because of their sourcing and all these different things." But it's one of those things that, and then later on, me and Chris sat down and like we were just talking, and Chris is like, "Dude, what is it that you want to do?" He's like, "Would you be happy making $150,000 just shooting YouTube content?" Because like you could do that, but it's like you need to align yourself with what is it that you want to do. And then he talks about how when he was growing blind, is that he was so aligned with what he wanted to do, and that was one of the main reasons he was able to grow blind to be, a multi-million-dollar agency, because everything that he was doing was breathing, eating. I guess there's another one, living blind, and that would really allowed him to grow the company. People want to be a part of that, and the same thing happens now with the future, right? People see the future, and people want to be a part of it, because the future is something that when you see Chris, you really believe it. It's really, he's really behind it. So figuring out with yourselves, where is it you want to align, and really pursue that. Something that I'm going to be working on this year. So what are my notes? So then with Patricia, she was the one that was working with Nike, and she like did really some cool collabs with Nike, with like she launched her own shoe with Nike, which was cool, using recycled textiles. Like LeBron James was wearing them. The shoes actually sold out now, which is pretty cool. But I asked her, I was like, what do you have to do to get your foot in the door to work with a company like Nike? And she goes, there's two ways. So the first way is you have to be a really crazy creative person, and then you have the other way to do something incredibly different. And what she was doing was incredibly different, like using recycled textiles is something that nobody else is doing. And now she's actually patented how to actually make that textile, and she is licensing that to other organizations, which is pretty cool. um so I have to talk. Okay, so something else that I learned was about having a talk with your clients before. And this is something I don't do, but in the process of you onboarding the client, talk to them about revisions. Talk to them what the process is going to be like, because I think we're so used to be like sitting the client and be like, "Hey, here's your contract." They signed it. And we expect the clients to have like read over everything and to have understood everything that goes into the contract. And what Chris told me, because I've recently ran into this problem again, one of them is revisions. We all deal with revisions, in the sense of, you know, clients going over three revisions and then us not saying anything, us expecting the client to know that there's only three revisions because that's in the contract. So Chris advised me to be once the client's about to sign or after they sign, to have an onboarding call and to explain to them, oh, I guess let me backtrack. When you're sending a proposal to the client, you need to let them know, hey, how many revisions do you need? And you have to lay it out for them. You're like, hey, normally most people need 3 revisions, and we give them a 3-day time span to get back to us. If you need longer than that, I'm gonna have to adjust my quote because I can't have my team just sitting around waiting for a week to do your projects. So if you're okay with paying extra, then yeah, I'll just add that to the bill. I'll give you 7 days grace for you to give me back the feedback. Because he's like, you can't run a profitable business just having your team waiting around for revisions. So the other thing he brought up was during the onboarding process is to let them know, like, hey, when I send you guys a revision, you're gonna have 3 days to do this. And then in every revision, you have to let them know, like, hey, this is revision one, this is revision two, this is revision three. We really have to lay it out for them. And like I said, we always expect them to just know that they're getting through revisions without communicating with them. So just walk them throughout the process before you actually start the project. And I know it's having this hard conversation makes it a little bit more difficult, but us having those difficult conversations what makes us a better business owner. Um, oh, so the other thing that he talked about with the revision process is that when a client's going to send you revisions, and this is going to happen a lot differently, is that have your clients be like, hey, in this 3-day time span that we have for revisions, add all the notes you need. We're not going to make any changes until a follow-up call on Friday. So as many things that you need. And he's talking about that we don't want to get the clients used, even if it's like, hey, can we just change the font on this real quick? Is we don't want to get the clients used to like letting them know that we can get things done right away. Because what about if they change their minds, or if like, hey, would that cancel us around the revision? So what he did when he was running blind is that he would be like, hey, put all the revisions you need, get all the revisions from your team. At the end of the week, we'll do a follow-up call. And what would happen is that, as the week goes, he would get a lot of different feedback from the client. And some of those things would end up like canceling each other out. So then on the follow-up call on Friday, he'd be like, hey, you said this and this part and this and that part. Which one did you mean by that? Or some of the things would get canceled out. So then your team's only working on one thing. It's very helpful for me because I know I've been like, as me coming from a hospitality background, I always aim to please, and like even if it's an easy change, I don't want to create friction with my clients. So I always want to deliver things like right away. But he says like you're training them and enabling them to get things done right away, and they're not paying for you to get those things done right away. So like you have to work within your own frame. Don't let them, like work you out of that. Um, Yeah, so like he told me is this is kind of verbatim, and he put how many days you need for feedback. Here's why: because my team is focused on this project and planned out for 3 days, so I can budget this for a 3-day project. So if you need more time for this, let me know, and I can add that to the budget. So it's something very simple that, like I said, we don't talk about, but when we actually hear it, it just makes so much sense. And then also it lets the client know that, like, hey, we
Someone's at the front door.
lets them know that we've been here before. But I'm actually gonna have to wrap this call quick. I'll do a follow up to this as a part two. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Fred.